Hi everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Taylor.
I'm Blanca, and today is Wicked Wine Wednesdays,
where we talk about true crime and sample wines.
Today we'll be discussing the wicked and twisted Katherine Knight.
So if you like wine and true crime, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So I just want to remind you guys that we will be talking about the wines that we tried at the end of the video, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned until then. And we will be posting a video every other Wednesday. So let's dive in. This case, or story, or violent movie, is what you would think it's from, is about the famous Katherine Knight. And I say that she's famous because she is the first woman in Australia to ever get imprisoned for life without parole. So Katherine Knight was born October 24th, 1955 in South Wales, Australia. She was raised in a household with her mother, and her mother was previously married to a man named Jack, and she started having an affair with one of Jack's co-workers and friends. His name was Ken Knight, which ended up being Katherine Knight's father. When Katherine was born, the dynamic between her mother and her father were not good. He was known to be an alcoholic, and he also manipulated and raped her mother, and it was pretty abusive. Barbara had 4 sons with the marriage prior, but her mother would share intimate details about her sex life with her father to her children. And why? No idea. No idea. Her mother would always talk to her about how much she hated men. And one time, Katherine came to her mom and basically told her, somebody's trying to get me to do something that I don't want to do. And her mom told her, suck it up, do it anyway. And I'm sure that's not a great thing to tell your young daughter. I don't know. But Knight says that she had several family members that molested her at a very young age, all the way up until she was 11 years old. And many of the psychiatrists weren't sure if this was true or not, but it is confirmed by members of her family that this was something that took place. I forgot to mention, on top of the 4 sons that Barbara had, she had Katherine, and Katherine was also a twin. So in the family, the only person Knight was really close to was her twin sister, as well as her uncle. And her uncle ended up committing suicide in 1969, and this affected her a lot. She ended up starting high school, and she was known to be a loner and just didn't really get along with people. She was violent towards many of her classmates, and she threatened a young boy with a weapon. I'm not sure what weapon it was. I'm sure it was like a knife or something. And she ended up being injured by one of the teachers, and the teacher said it was because of self-defense, and who knows what she was doing. I don't know. But she ended up dropping out of high school around 15 years old. And she got her dream job, which was being a butcher. I mean, if that's your dream job, sure, you know, more power to you, but it's a little weird. Especially, she got her own set of butcher knives, and she hung them above her bed in case she needed to use them. I don't know if there's like a cow coming into your room and you need to butcher the cow real quick. I don't understand. But apparently, this is actually, hold on, she quotes, "They would always be handy if I needed them." Okay, sure.
Yeah, I'm starting to really think that it wasn't her dream job because of animals that she would be cutting.
You think?
In 1973, Knight met her first husband, David Kellett. They were pretty much kind of on and off, but through her pretty much pushing and persevering and, you know, I'm going to assume demanding, but
yeah,
whatever. They eventually do get married in 1974. Now, upon the arrival of coming to their wedding, Knight's mom actually decides to warn David about Knight. She tells him that she is crazy, don't wrong her, don't cheat on her, she will kill you, and that there are a few screws loose.
I'd say.
I mean, that's one way to put it, Mama. It's one way to put
Thanks,
it.
Mom.
On their wedding night, Knight actually strangles Kellett because they only had intercourse 3 times.
Okay. She was mad that he fell asleep after they had sex 3 times, so she tried to kill him. That makes sense. Sure.
I mean, you do need a little recharge, like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure, whatever. Now, their marriage did prove to be, I guess, on the more violent side of things. There was one particular argument where when she was pregnant, she decided to burn all of his belongings, clothing, shoes, just kind of anything if you want to name it, and then decided to hit him behind his head with a frying pan.
Because he was late.
From a darts competition where he reached the finals. Which, I mean, good for him.
Yeah, she congratulated him with a frying pan to the back of the head.
So that's some Rapunzel love right there. Look at that. So after, you know, smashing him in the head with a frying pan, he gets a skull fracture. Shocker, because I'm pretty sure she whacked him good. I mean, obviously. He got a skull fracture. But
what if it was like a freaking cast iron skillet?
Oh, probably. I'm sure she got like the heaviest thing she could find. If I'm being really honest, if you're gonna go that route, like, gotta do the most damage, you know?
Oh God.
I don't know, but he ends up like going to the neighbor's house. The police come. She pretty much convinces him to not press any charges on her, and obviously, it just kind of. Nothing happens because she didn't press charges.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm still just like...
And then they later have a kid. Like, okay.
So now they have a kid, and this is in May of 1976, and this is to Melissa Ann Kellett. Now, after this, Kellett decides to basically leave Katherine and the baby because she's just crazy and start an affair with a woman in Queensland. At this point, now Katherine starts to become very dangerous towards the child, and she did get put into a psych ward where they just kind of were diagnosing it as postpartum depression. But, I mean, I know postpartum can be crazy, but like, damn. She was like having the baby in like one of those like stroller bassinet things, whatever you call them. And she's just like pushing him down, tossing the baby like side to side, going crazy with it, like throwing the baby into the road almost, and then was trying to like threaten to kill people. Did she slash the woman's face that time, or was that another one?
It was after she got out of the psych ward.
Oh, yes.
She then put the kid on a railway.
So she basically goes to the psych ward for, you know, pushing the baby into the street and, you know, just threatening to kill people all around her at that time. And so they put her into the psych ward. They like diagnosed her with the postpartum. Now she gets out, and then within 2 days of getting out, she now has she puts her baby back onto a railway with, you know, a railway or a railroad, or not a railroad, a train coming. There we go. Yeah. With a train coming. And I mean, we're kind of talking, you know, minutes here at this point. Luckily, someone did save the baby, but she was running around town threatening to kill people. She slashed a woman in the face with a knife. And then again, she was taken back to the psych ward. And she stayed there for, I want to say it was 24 hours. And then she decided that she was all better, and she decided to sign herself out and went back on her merry way. Now, after being released from the psych ward multiple different times, she then is caught because she like threatened a woman and was demanding that she drive her to Queensland so that she can go and get her husband, and that she told the police that she was on her way to kill the mechanic because she was upset with him for fixing her husband's car, which allowed him to leave her. And then,
I'm wondering if she's the one that, like, she probably, like, cut the brakes to his car or something so he couldn't leave.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. I'm sure she had to do something to it.
Yeah, obviously the car wasn't working for a reason.
Yes. And then she wants to go and kill the mechanic because now the problem's fixed and the guy could leave. And then she told the police her plan was, after killing the mechanic, that she was going to go and find her husband and kill him and the woman that he was with. In August of 1976, Knight was released from custody, and she was basically placed into the care of her mother-in-law and her husband. Not great choices, but sure.
She got what she wanted, though.
I don't know. She's just so crazy. At this point, they moved to the suburbs. She gets a job at a, like, nearby deli because, you know, being a butcher is just her dream job.
I've never even heard of, like, somebody, like, when I grow up, I want to slaughter animals.
Well, I don't even know if she knew that that was her dream job. I'm wondering if, like, she started it and then she realized, like, how much she enjoyed, like, carving up things, and then she realized, like, oh my god, I just landed my dream job. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it could be that. But eventually, like I said, they moved to the suburbs. She gets a work job at the deli. And then in March of 1980, they decide to have another daughter. Why? Sure. I mean, I'm going to be real honest. I feel really bad for the kids. But it's just crazy. He has another daughter with her despite everything. And then in 1984, Knight actually decides to leave him and basically decides to move back to her parents, gets a job back where she was originally working, I believe, when she had met him, and then got like a back injury, which placed her on disability. So now she's not having to like pay any rent, and she has like, chillin' life. But you know, being a butcher's her dream job.
Yeah, put her back to work. Knight ends up finding another David. Like, how? How does this work out? Anyway, she finds another David in 1986. She starts dating him, and he moves in with her and her daughters. But he keeps his old apartment because he doesn't want that commitment of fully living with her. And this didn't make her very happy. She was jealous and saw it as like his way of living a secret life, I guess, and like having other women in his apartment.
1 foot out, 1 foot in type of thing.
Yeah. And she... This is so sad. So she ended up... Why is this like the worst part of the story? She ended up slashing his 2-month-old puppy's throat. And I guess to like make an example of like what would happen to him if...
But why are you gonna take it out on the puppy?
Because
it's just fucking crazy.
Yeah. She kind of wanted to scare him and be like, you know, like, this is what I'll do to you if you don't move in with me.
But I mean, she's a butcher. You couldn't just leave like one of your like dead animals all, I don't know. Like, why'd you have to take it off?
I don't know. But shortly after slashing the puppy's throat, she then hits new David in the head with a frying pan.
Because it worked so well.
The first time. And lo and behold, they have a kid.
So is that what we have to do? Do we have to smack them in the head with a frying? Is that what will knock the sense into bed? Is that what it is?
Oh my god. So, anyway, them now having a new kid, David decides that he does want to live with them. So he puts a deposit on a house, and Katherine decides to decorate the house like it's, I don't know, it has like skinned animals laying around, like skulls, horns, like animal traps. She basically like made her house like a butcher.
I was gonna say like a hunting lodge almost.
Yeah.
Like,
so weird. I don't know. It says that no space was uncovered. Even the ceilings had like animal stuff. Like,
I feel like you would just stand in their house and just be so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I would be like, I actually have to go.
You just look at everything, you're like,
yeah.
It's time to leave.
Yeah, I would not want to stay in that house. So Katherine and David end up getting in a fight, and she hits him in the face with an iron and then stabs him in the stomach with scissors. It's not funny, but it's just like, what the hell is going on?
It's not, but at the same time,
like, how is she getting away with all of this?
Yes. One, how is she getting away with all of this? Two, why do they keep going back to her and having kids with her? There's just...
I have no idea.
It's just one of those things where I feel like the more you read this and the more you talk about it, you're like, how is this even real? Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, like, it literally sounds like a movie. Like, this is like some, like, Stephen King movie.
Right?
Like, what is going on? I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone just, like, reading about this case. It's insane. I don't
understand it at all.
Me either. So, he ended up leaving her, and, he basically went into hiding because he was like, I am not doing this. And she tried to find him, and she had no trace of him. Nobody let her know if they knew where he was or anything. But later on, he decided that he was going to try to get back into contact with his daughter. And he found out that she had taken out a restraining order on him, saying that she was scared of him. And so he wasn't able to have contact with his daughter, even though she's the one that stabbed him in the stomach with scissors.
And hit him with a frying pan.
And an iron.
Crazy.
I don't know. So she ends up meeting a man named John in 1990 and has a kid with him. A boy, this time at least. They were together for 3 years, and then she ended up having an affair with another man named John. She went from David to John. Like, this is why it's so, like, it's like a movie. Like, you could literally write this. Like, I'm thinking, like, you can't write this shit. Like, but you can. You know? Like, it's like a story. Like, you would think this is like a fictional, or non-fictional is fake. Yeah. A fictional story. Insane.
John Price was born on April 4th of 1955. He was a father to 3 daughters. One of them remained with their mother, and the 2 eldest ended up staying with him. Now, in 1995, I'm not 100% sure if that's when he met Katherine or if he had met her a little bit sooner, but at this point, they are in a relationship. He decides to let her move into the house. He is fully aware of her violent reputation. However, his daughters loved her. He was doing pretty great from himself, working in the mines. In 1998, Knight and Price begin to argue a lot more because he refuses to marry her.
I don't know what her thing is about marriage. It's like she wants everybody to marry her and have babies with her. I don't know what it is, but
then she just like is so abusive to them, and I'm just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I don't know. So they get into, you know, these giant arguments. She gets violent. He like refuses to want to marry her, and she sends his boss a video of pretty much like a first aid kit or something like that he stole from work. It was something that was like super outdated and like basically it was garbage to the company, but like obviously.
So he just took it home.
Yeah.
Like,
he took it home. So she sends the video to his boss. Obviously, his boss has no choice but to fire him. A job that he held for 17 years, just lost because of her. So, of course, that only, you know, amped up their argument a lot more, and to the point in which he then kicks her out because he's just like, I can't do this with you. Probably should have ended it there if you're being really honest. But like all the other men, he decides to
take her back.
Take her back. And this is like after the news has spread throughout the whole town. She's already moved back with her parents. Like a few months have gone by and he's just like, yeah, sure, come back to me. Why not? At that point, their fighting just becomes so frequent that now John's friends are becoming disassociated from him. They just want nothing to do with him. If they're going to be in a relationship, they just can't be like his friends, which I get.
Yeah.
Homegirl is...
Like, you want to surround yourself around that? I don't think so.
I don't even know.
I'd be like, maybe I do want to stick around because something's gonna happen to you, bro.
I know,
like, I want to kind of make sure you're safe, but yeah,
just call the cops every night. I think something happened.
Yeah, I mean, they would have gotten there sooner, maybe.
I don't know. In February of 2000, Price and Knight just become basically more violent arguments. She ends up stabbing him in the chest. At this point, he's so fed up with her that he kicks her out once again. Then he decides on February 29th that he was going to stop by on his way home at the local court and get a restraining order out on her, basically for him and his daughters, because he started fearing that she was going to take it out on one of them. Mm-hmm. And then he also decided to tell his coworkers that, you know, if he doesn't come to work tomorrow, she killed him. So comforting. Like, I don't even know.
I'd be like, bro, I'm coming with you.
So his coworkers did kind of plead for him to not go home. However, he still did. When he did go home, even though Katherine herself wasn't home, she had sent his children home, or not home, but like to sleepovers with their friends so that they weren't in the home. He himself was very uncomfortable with it, so he went over to the neighbor's house and stayed there until about 11 p.m. before coming home and deciding to go to bed. Mm-hmm. Eventually, she, you know, does come over because she had bought new lingerie that day. So she comes over, she sits next to him, watches television, has a shower, eventually wakes him up so that they can have sex, and then he falls asleep. Which, if you ask me, seems like a big mistake, but okay.
I'm not sure when it happened, if he was asleep when it happened or what, but she decided she was going to kill him, take it to the next level of her violence. She stabbed him 37 times and skinned him. We'll get into more detail. But she decided to take a handful of sleeping pills. I don't know if she planned on killing herself or what, but she took some pills and went and laid down, and yeah. But at 6 a.m. the next day, the neighbors realized that his car was still there. Price's car was still there. And his coworkers were like, he didn't show up to work. And so they called the police and they're like, hey, something's happening. So the cops get to the house and everything's locked up. And they're like looking through windows. And all they can really see is there's like they said it's like a sheet almost like blocking the door or like the window. And they were like, why is this like weird blanket up? So they end up going around the back of the house and they kick in the back door and they immediately notice blood all over the house, everywhere. Like, this is a complete and utter blood scene, like all over, ceiling, walls, floor, like everywhere. And they start to notice that there's like handprints like going down, bloody handprints like slowly going down the wall of the hallway. And they say that it looks like she was basically chasing him through the house and he's trying to get out of the house, and that's why they're getting lower. Like, he's probably stumbling because he's dying.
Losing consciousness.
Yeah, and there was a bloody handprint on one of the light switches, which I think that he attempted to turn on the light, probably because he didn't know what the hell was going on. And they saw that he actually ended up getting to the door because there was a bloody handprint on the screen. So he made it there, but there was blood, like drags, like he had got to the door and she dragged him back. Yeah. And so it was pretty gruesome. And this sheet that they saw, that they thought was a sheet, one of the cops walked in, like had to move the sheet or the blanket over. And when he did, he realized that his hand was covered in blood when he touched it. And it wasn't a sheet. It was Price's skin hanging from meat hooks in the doorway. So she had skinned him and hung his skin up on these meat hooks. And the cop was like, I'm out. So he left and they sent more teams in, and when they came in, they heard snoring coming from one of the rooms. And I would have been like, oh no, like, this is like some horror movie, you know what I mean?
I was like, she's gonna wake up right now, she's gonna try and finish all of us right now. Like, nope, I'm out.
But they go to the room and it's Katherine sleeping in the bed, and they end up taking her in. She ends up being in a comatose for like 4 days or something like that. And they notice that his body is not in one piece and his head is missing. And they're not really sure where his head is. So they're like looking around, but they do notice, like, I guess on the floor, there's like the outline, you know, of his body. So he had his head on when she like cut up his body. So like the head was probably last. And she had set up his body almost like, I don't know, like a scene. Like, she had one of his arms like draped over a soda bottle, like a 2-liter bottle, and then like had his legs sitting there like crossed. I don't know. The court says that it was a way of like defilement. Is that how you say it? Yeah, an act of defilement. But she had left a handwritten note with a photograph on top of, I don't know where, but she left a photograph and a note with it. And on the note, it doesn't even really make sense. I don't understand what it has to do, what it means, but it says, Time got you back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter. You too, Beck, for Ross, for little John. Now play with John Price. I don't want to say that. It sounds bad.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, but
she's crazy.
Yeah. So they end up finding... What do they find, Blanca?
So, you guys remember our German cannibal eater guy? So, you guys remember how he spent, you know, pretty much almost a year cooking meals off the dude, eating him, all that fun jazz. Well, our lovely little Katherine Knight took a little page out of his playbook.
Apparently.
She decided to cook up John, and she made him into a meal, the whole shebang. Then she left 2 plates with 2 envelopes pretty much next to them, and one of them was for John's kids. Which one, I'm not 100% sure, but, and for what reason, I don't know. Now, it is also said that there was a 3rd plate of the meal that was thrown out in the backyard. So the theory, I think, on that one is that, like, she tried it but couldn't, like, stomach it and then threw it out.
Like to give it to the dog.
Yeah. It was just like, oh, like, what am I doing? She served it with things like a baked potato, pumpkin, beetroot?
Beetroot, yeah.
Oh, beetroot. Oh my god, I don't know why I couldn't read that. I was like, beet? Okay, so it was beetroot, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy in 2 settings, like at the dinner table.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, remember how I said they couldn't find his head? They then realized that there's like one of those big pots sitting on the stove that was still warm. And when they opened the pot, Price's head was in there with vegetables. It's like she was making a stock.
Stew, come on.
No, like, you know, like a vegetable or beef stock, like a broth.
Oh, yeah.
With his head. Yeah. But, like I said, she was comatose, so when she did wake up, she didn't remember anything. Of course not. Why would she, right?
Always so convenient.
Yeah.
Always.
So she didn't remember anything, and they can't really get anything out of her, but she does end up confessing to killing him. But she said it's because of all the years of abuse that she put him through, you know? Like stabbing her in the chest. Because that makes sense. But she tried to get a plea deal of manslaughter, which, if you know what manslaughter is, it's pretty much an accidental killing. Like, say you accidentally kill somebody, like, driving, you know? Like, you hit them. That's considered manslaughter. Not planning this. Straight up planning this. And you know that she obviously planned it because she sent his kids away.
She sent his kids away. She took, like, medication.
She was doing.
Yeah, no.
She knew what she was doing. And she ended up pleading not guilty in the beginning. And then she decided, never mind, I am guilty. And the judge said that he thinks the reason why she was trying to do that is because she was going to try to, like, say she was insane and, like, plead insanity, that, like, when she
really
pleaded...
she didn't.
I mean, she tried, but the psychologists were like, no.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, they were like, no, you're not. But that's what's even crazier. The psychiatrists are like, she's not crazy. And it's like, what? What do you mean she's not crazy? Like medically, mentally, they don't see anything wrong with her. Like, nobody in their right mind would do this, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
no.
I don't know, but anyway,
You wouldn't.
I don't
She's not crazy. She's not crazy.
Yeah, apparently she's not. I don't know. So she had a psychiatrist assess her, And he ended up saying that she had borderline personality disorder, which doesn't make you kill people. So they're like, yeah, you're fine. But they were scared that Knight's team was gonna try to defend her by saying that she had amnesia and like dissociation and all of that. But she refused to take responsibility for her actions, and they excused her from like the hearings and stuff. And it was weird. It was like she tried to play crazy. Like when they were in the court and stuff, she would be like fine talking to them, and then all of a sudden she would like start screaming and like
Crying.
Yeah, acting hysterical, and she would be like rocking. It's like, and her friends and stuff, or like people that knew her, were like, she never did this before. And it's like very clear that you're trying to do something,
Pretend to be crazy.
yeah, which obviously didn't work.
Some like other little things too is that a lot of the officers ended up having PTSD and quit, and a lot of them, from what I understand, were like incapable of like eating or really like functioning as a human for like almost 6+ months, because it seemed that they like walked into was just so horrific. I don't blame them, if I'm being really honest. I feel like
I couldn't imagine,
honestly. But they were also saying that the entire crime scene, like, it wasn't like Katherine was in like a panic. Like when you murder somebody and you're just like, oh my god, like, you know, like, how am I gonna do this? And like, it's like almost like a sloppy job, I guess you can say. Her cuts, from what I understand, were like very precise, and that her decapitation of him was just so clean. Like, it was just like the cleanest like decapitation they've ever seen. Like,
I wonder what she used.
She had
her butcher knives.
Yeah, she had to have like a really steady hand. Like, she wasn't shaking. She wasn't like, oh my god, I just murdered somebody. Like, no, she was very, very calm. And I'm just like, to me, I just think that's crazy. Like, you just took apart somebody and you're just like,
you're so clean about it.
Yeah. And then I think even the skinning was so clean that they were able to sew his body back together for the viewings and
like
stuff.
The autopsy.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I mean, she did get her dream job as a butcher. Yeah. So obviously that did come into play. Yeah. But to me, I'm just like, damn, like, you were so ready to like just kill somebody. Yeah. Like, well, no remorse in the matter. Like,
yeah. Well, I think the craziest thing is too is where she basically cut out like little steaks, you know? Yeah. But like out of like the fatty part of his back. It's like she knew exactly where she was gonna get like the best meat from, and she just took out like 5 little like fillets out of his back. Like, they were just like, he was just a cow. Like, what? I don't know. But yeah, she just cut up little steaks out of his back and was like, I'm gonna cook these up.
She's crazy.
Yes. But like we said in the beginning, she's the first woman to be sentenced to life without parole.
Which I think she deserves.
Yeah. And in June 2006, she actually tried to appeal the case because she said that the life sentencing was too severe for the killing. So we're gonna go ahead and end this video on a more positive note, because what the hell we just went through, I have no idea. No idea. We're gonna talk about the wines that we tried. Well, wine that we tried.
Like, we only tried one together today.
Yeah. And we'll let you know what we think. So the wine that we had today is called Apothic Crush.
I think you gotta go in more. No? Turn.
It's...
There you go.
Anyway, it's called Apothic Crush, and it's a smooth red blend. I think it was pretty good.
It was a good one. I liked it.
It's all the way on the bold side, which
I could see it.
yeah, like it's not, to me it's not like overbearing, but it's a little bit more on the tannic side than the smooth side. But it's almost like right in the middle. And
But you can taste the acid for sure.
yeah, and it's more dry than sweet, and it's more on the acidic side than the soft side.
The acidic, yes.
Yeah, the dry, like, I mean,
I feel like it was pretty
taste the
sweet.
dryness, but it's not like overly dry, and it's not overly sweet. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good one. It has taste notes of, you know, basically what every red wine has. Caramel, chocolate, you got cherry, red fruits, raspberries, vanilla.
Oh, right when I said vanilla and I took that sip, I was like, oh yeah.
You got the vanilla.
Yeah, I was like, there is. And it pairs well with beef, lamb, veal, chicken.
Anything you would eat for dinner.
But yeah, overall it's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I liked it.
Yeah. Check out our wine glasses.
Oh yeah, hold on, let's see.
Did you get it?
There we go. So if you see it says True Crime and Wine.
And they're made by her.
I made them.
She has her little business going on. Go ahead, plug your...
If you guys want to check it out, go on my Instagram. It's McGowan-Made20.
Subtle plug, but you know.
I know.
Why not? No,
I mean, they're super cute.
Yeah, you guys go check them out. She has a bunch of stuff going on over there.
DM to order. I got nothing to do these days, so.
So yeah, check her out.
Thank you everybody for watching, and we can't wait to see you next Wednesday. Bye!